what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Hello, this is Chris from the Foot Candle Film Podcast. Are you interested in promoting your business to an online audience? Your ad could be right here. Consider advertising on the Mesh Podcast Network. Head over to themesh.tv for details.
Welcome back to My Dad Watches The Bachelor. I'm Meredith, and I'm here with my co-host, my dad.
Hello, Meredith. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
I'm excited to talk Bachelor with you. I know you had a super fun Monday night, spending 3 hours with Pilot Pete.
Well, I can't tell you what a thrill it is when you told me that there was not only one, but two Bachelor episodes this week, and the first one was a 3-hour episode. I must say it felt somewhat exhausting to get through that episode.
Yeah, I'm super excited. We got a new episode tonight. So you have a very Bachelor-packed day, don't you?
I do. I'm just living the dream here. So why don't we get to the highlights and lowlights of Monday's show and share our thoughts with our good listeners.
Okay. Well, do you want to start with your highlights of the show?
Okay, I came up with 2 highlights. Number one, okay. I thought that Peter actually showed a little bit of intestinal fortitude when he walked Alea out at the beginning of the episode and recognized that she could not stay any longer and that he had made grave mistakes in keeping her around, and at least he sort of rectified that and did what he had to do there. So I've not seen him show a lot of that so far, so I was happy to see a glimpse of that, although the rest of the episode, not so much. I feel bad for Alea. She really got jerked around. Well,
and hardcore bullied.
I sort of thought she sort of got what she deserved, but anyway, and I still like my friend Sammy Tammy, who was the first rose ceremony. I think she said, "If I don't get a rose tonight, I'm going to set the building on fire." And we came so close because she was actually the last person to get a rose in the rose ceremony. So I enjoyed Tammy.
You enjoyed Tammy? Tammy sucked this week, okay?
Anyway, as the episode went on, some bad things happened with Tammy, but I liked the beginning part with that. So those are the only highlights that I came up with. What were your highlights?
Well, my first highlight was the video footage we got of Peter's injury. I thought that it was pretty funny to see once again how big of a dope Peter is. And
you and I differ a little bit in that I had that as a low light, in that he ran into a golf court.
That was so funny though.
He's calling it a head injury.
He's so funny, convincing the girls that he was hiking up a volcano in Costa Rica and came across a puma. Girls are idiots.
All I can say is the guy's a pilot. I hope he's better of not running into things when he's in airplanes than he is when he's klutzing around the resort area.
Well, I thought that was a high, and then my other high wasn't technically from the episode. It involved some of the episode with the group date where Victoria F won the quote-unquote cover of Cosmo magazine. However, first off, they've come out to say it wasn't actually the cover of the magazine. It was the digital cover. So we kind of got played a little bit there, thinking that we were going to see some Bachelor on the cover of Cosmo.
Heaven forbid that the Bachelor plays us a little bit.
They also said that Victoria F and Peter's photo will not be on the cover of their digital magazine because it's come out that Victoria F has modeled before for an All Lives Matter campaign. It, to clarify, is not related to the All Lives Matter movement. It's about a white fish or something of the sort, and they just chose to use the phrase All Lives Matter. So I think that they shouldn't have used that phrase for a fish campaign, considering it has a heavy connotation behind it. But good for Cosmo for standing up for their beliefs and putting their foot down. And I'm fine with it because I am not a big fan of Victoria F. She's a whiny little butt, so not interested in seeing her on any covers of magazines. But that is my high. I mean, I also enjoyed McKenna's tongue action this week. Did you notice that she's doing a lot of weird things with her tongue?
I did not notice that.
It wasn't like during any kissing or anything. It was just like while sitting on the couch, she just like, obviously our listeners can't see me, but like tongue everywhere. So it's like she was practicing for when she got her claws into Peter.
Well,
I
know that she I think she reminded us that she has not yet had a one-on-one date. So, I guess she might want to continue to do her tongue exercises because from what we've seen on one-on-one dates, she's going to be needing practice because Peter does seem like the makeout king.
I'm not interested in a McKenna one-on-one date. She's too young. She's 22. She's not ready for this. And it shows every single rose ceremony when she almost bursts into tears. Moving on.
So
lows.
Lowlights, what lows do you have?
My low is that the girls were so mean to Alea. They were just awful, all ganging up on her. And like, why would Peter want to be with someone who treats others so poorly? Like, Sydney was being awful. Victoria, Puker were being like, just not a great look. But you know who wasn't being mean? Madison and Kelly, my picks.
Well, and I'm not sure Hannah Ann was being that mean. I don't really remember her being that mean. I mean, there seemed to be a group that's a little bit more mature and have been staying out of the drama. So yeah, I've got a couple of lowlights.
Okay, I have one more, but you go into yours first.
Well, when Peter first came on early in the episode, his little mini beard really struck out to me. He looked like a werewolf. So I didn't really like the Peter mini beard. So I had that as a low light.
Kelly also doesn't like it. She told Peter that.
Well, and then the whole Peter apology tour at the beginning when Alea left, and it just seems like he mopes around a bit, says some sorries, and then he's back to the smiley, smoochy, handsy, dancy, huggy, drinky Peter, so I'm a little tired of the Peter apology tour, but he does keep stepping in it. And then I guess the last thing I wrote, which goes back to the final rose ceremony of the evening, is Peter's a gullible rube. It's whoever talks to him last is the person that's gonna get the rose or get whatever. So if Kelsey goes to talk to him, you get a rose, and then the other girls sort of break ranks from the rose ceremony to say, "Can I have a minute with you?" He just, to me, you're much more the Bachelor expert than I. I've watched some with you, but this is the first season that I've really tried to pay attention because it's the first time we've ever had a podcast to discuss it. But I remember people like Ari and Juan Pablo, I think, who struck me as not great guys. And I'm curious to where Peter ranks in the pantheon of crappy bachelors.
I think genuinely he's a nice guy. I just don't think that he has the personality or mental capacity to be a good lead on this show.
I think that is well said, and I'll go back to gullible rube.
Speaking of, my last low is I'm confused because Peter is like taking Tammy's word about how Kelsey had a mental emotional breakdown or whatever, and she's drinking and popping pills. Peter's like, oh, this is a red flag. I really had these strong feelings for Kelsey, but this is my red flag. But he literally saw it for himself how freaking crazy Kelsey is during Champagne Gate, and he just brushes that off like it's no big deal. I don't understand that. Like, he's seen for himself that she's nuts. But now that Tammy's saying something, he's like, oh, red flag. This is odd. I only believe it because you're saying it, not because I've seen it for myself.
Well, but then, Kelsey comes back and refutes it all. So then he doesn't believe it. And it sort of threw me when Kelsey said that people were talking about her popping pills, because I guess I missed that. I don't remember.
I missed that as well. I don't know where that came from.
I mean, to me, I was somewhat taken aback by that, in that I remember Tammy saying something about the drinking, and it looks like she had been doing some drinking, but the whole pill thing seemed to take it to a different level. And when she first said it to Peter, I said, I think you're lying. I don't remember anyone saying that. But then later it sounds like there was some conversation about some pills. So I wasn't sure what to make of that.
But just to clear the air, Kelsey only takes Adderall and birth control, not popping pills. Okay. Thank you, Kelsey, for letting us know. But I had a WTF moment of this episode early on. It relates to Champagne Gate. We saw a clip of Kelsey confiding in Hannah Ann about her insecurities with her relationship with Peter. Like, what is happening? I don't understand when Champagne Gate ended, when Kelsey and Hannah Ann became friends, but now they're talking about their feelings with each other and like venting. And how did we get here?
I cannot answer that question. You're the Bachelor expert, but I did also find that very strange, because I was scratching my head thinking, weren't these two about to scratch each other's eyes out a couple of episodes ago, and now they seem to be comparing notes and confiding in one another? Seemed a little bit strange.
Yeah, like whoever's editing these episodes for us, like we're missing a lot here. And it's making it kind of hard to follow, just a little bit confusing. I can't keep up with who hates who, who's friends with who. It seems to change every week, and we aren't getting explanation. So that's just my WTF moment.
So do you have any right reasons and wrong reasons to share this week?
This might be a controversial take here, but my right reason of the week's going to Kelsey. I feel like I understand a person who has a lot of feelings, and I think that she genuinely cares about Peter and her relationship with him, and that's why she's so emotional. Like, I think I would also be emotional if the guy I was dating was also dating 12 other women and I had to live with them. Granted, that is what she signed up for, but you don't really know how you're going to react to it until you're in the moment. And so I think Kelsey is there for Peter. I don't think that she's really interested in the drama, and well, actually I don't know if that's a true statement.
Yeah, she's like the center of the drama, but go ahead.
But she's not starting it. Tammy's concerned about her drinking and crying by herself one night, but it's like she went over by herself to have a little cry and have some wine. Like, she's not trying to get everyone involved in this. That's just how
just go back to Champagne Gate. I mean, she was like the
we've moved past Champagne Gate, though. Hannah Ann and Kelsey are friends now. This is Kelsey versus Tammy. Kelsey, I'm Team Kelsey here. So that's my right reason. I'm sticking with it.
All right. Well, I sort of look at right reasons a little bit differently from you, in that, I'm in my quest for authenticity in this morass of a show. So I would say right reason this week, I'm going with Kelly, who, when she gets to Costa Rica, she just sort of says, I'm tired. We're in Costa Rica. I'm just looking to have some fun. And Peter seems a little perplexed when they go on their one-on-one date that she's not as into it as she should be or whatnot. But to me, she seemed pretty honest, and they're on this weird date with voodoo doctors or something, and smoke's going on. I didn't really like that as much. It didn't seem like the fun date to me. But Peter's saying, I need you to trust the process, and Kelly's sitting around saying he's still dating 12 other girls. I think she gets it, So I thought that she had the most mature, realistic perspective. So I'm giving her my right reason this week.
I don't disagree with you. I have more to say on Kelly later, but big fan.
Okay.
So how about your wrong reason?
Well, I mean, I'm just sort of down on Peter, in that, he's, I find him just very uninspiring and full of it, in that, he's having his one-on-one date with Sydney and telling Sydney, "You've inspired me. I want to be your rock." And then he says, "We do have physical chemistry." Yeah, well, it seemed like they're getting a little bit R-rated there for a while. He's telling Victoria F. that we have a connection. There's no doubt about that. And he's telling Kelly that trust the process. And he's saying, "I've been there. I know the process." And I'm thinking, well, how'd that work out for you, big guy? Come on, the process didn't work so well for you. So
we don't know that. I think he's probably engaged to Hannah Brown. So
well, and I'm just
great for him.
And I'm just thinking, Peter, you're liking all the crazies. You're liking Leia, you're liking Kelsey, you're liking Victoria F. He seems to be drawn to the crazy people. So that's
that's fair.
I'm down on Peter.
Yeah, I think Sydney's crazy too. You can't leave her out of there. I think that it actually came out Monday night after the episode where Sydney was talking about how she was bullied in high school and ate lunch every day in the bathroom. On Twitter, someone posted a picture of their yearbook, went to high school with Sydney. She was homecoming queen and all of these pageant winner things, tons of pictures of her, voted biggest sweetheart, seemed very popular. So she may have been bullied. Her perception of reality may be different from the reality that others experience in her high school. But just to keep in mind moving forward with Sydney's sob stories.
All right. What you have any lowlights you would like to share? Or wrong reasons?
Wrong reasons.
Yes.
My wrong reason goes to Tammy this week because she sucks. As I've said before, snitches get stitches. Tammy was a big snitch. She better look out because Peter has also been a snitch this season, and his stitches came to him this episode with his injury.
You're saying he had some karma.
Yeah, he had some karma, and he should have kept his nose in his own business. And now karma's coming for Tammy next because she is a big snitch. She is bringing up Kelsey's drinking to Peter, which hello, you're on The Bachelor. You don't have anything else to do. You're going to have some drinks. But also, the producers have put a limit on the number of drinks that people can have per hour so that no one's getting a little too crazy. So, not even a valid claim that Kelsey is bringing up or that Tammy's bringing up to Peter. I'm just not into it. Tammy is very aggressive, and she doesn't seem like the type of girl that understands that other girls aren't as similar to her. So Tammy's on the wrestling in the boys wrestling league end of the spectrum of girl, and Kelsey's on the I cry for 4 hours a day and need to talk about my feelings and drink wine kind of girl. And Tammy just doesn't seem to respect these differences. She just assumes that Kelsey's bad and wrong and not right for Peter. So I think she just needs to keep her nose in her own business. I liked Tammy before this week, but I'm ready for her to get out. Done with her.
Well, and I would just warn any of the girls who start something with Tammy that she was on the wrestling team. And if people are going to start throwing down, I think Tammy will get the best of them. So the
girls seemed very concerned at the when they were told there was no cocktail party, and they started ganging up on Tammy, and Tammy stood up to kind of really make her point in the argument, and the girls seemed a little freaked out that she would stand up during the argument. I guess they also are aware of her wrestling background.
Oh, good for them.
She would not be the person I'd want to pick a fight with.
You're good for you. I'm happy for that. So
okay.
You're ready to give up on our picks and move to trying to determine who's eligible to be the next Bachelorette?
Yeah. So personally, I think Kelly is my favorite, but I think she's too normal to be the Bachelorette. So I'm going for most entertaining Bachelorette season that I can see in the future, and I'm going with Kelsey. I think Kelsey would make a very interesting season as the Bachelorette.
Okay. Well, I can understand you're saying that for television viewing prospects. You know, when you mentioned that maybe we should be thinking about bachelorettes, I guess my thought process went to people that might be showing a little bit more maturity and less crazy, as in that if you've got to go be the person for the whole season, you might want to have a little bit of stability. So, you know, my thought process went to Hannah Ann or Madison as potential bachelorettes, but they might not have the right qualities that you're thinking of. Well,
Hannah Brown may have came off a little crazy during Colton's season, and she made a great bachelorette. And I'm my number one bachelorette pick, if she is not engaged to Peter Weber right now, is Hannah Brown. But I'm assuming that they're engaged.
Well, you're going to run that one back?
Yeah, I would like a redo.
Okay.
It's been done before with The Bachelor.
Okay.
So it's not impossible. All right. So you think Hannah Ann or Madison?
Yeah, that's all right. Well.
Okay.
So who's your
Let's go into my MVP.
Yeah, who's your MVP?
My MVP is Kelly, because she's so freaking normal. I love her. I like that she's calling Peter out for rewarding the drama of the other women. I just think she's mature. And if Peter is serious about getting married and having a normal life and normal family, she's the one that he should pick. I don't think that she's going to be our winner, but I think that she is the most ready, the most normal. Like,
yeah.
Peter wants her to commit and be like 100% in the process. But like you said, he's still dating 12 other ladies. Like, I think it would be hard to be like full-heartedly, oh, I'm falling in love with you. Like, I get it, Kelly. I get it. So she's my MVP.
That's a good pick. I mean, the only other suggestion I might have is, I was thinking, watching the last Rose session with all the dramatic music, I was thinking the MVP should be the person that selects the music for these episodes, because it was just building the tension. I found it very noticeable this episode.
Well, that's why you don't get to pick the MVP.
Okay. Well, I do get to provide some fatherly advice. So I made a few notes. So first off, I will say, and I guess I was thinking this when Alea came back and all the other girls were so upset that Peter rewarded Alea, and after they'd gone through the football game, and we're still getting some of that. And I was thinking, if you don't want to be there because of Alea or anyone else, please leave. I think you would be a hero. You'd be a national hero if you just said, this is ridiculous, kick Peter in the shin and walked off. I think that would make you a hero. So my fatherly advice is, when it's time to leave, get up and leave. Don't put up with the silliness and the crap. So
okay.
Another piece of fatherly advice, and this one came from my friend Tammy. At some point, she said this early in the episode. She said, I'm not going to sit around and mope over imaginary problems. And that's about the best advice I can give to anybody, whether it's my daughter or my friend or anybody. Focus on the things that you can control. Don't be sweating the stuff that you can't control, the imaginary problems out there. Now, unfortunately for Tammy, she created some of her own problems as the episode progressed. Mm-hmm. But that resonated with me. So
yeah, very, very interesting mix of advice that we get from Tammy. What you're saying, but also she's going to burn the house down if she doesn't get a rose.
I know. I like her. I'm glad.
She's got a lot going on. No, she sucks.
Anyway, and the whole snitching thing. As a father, you got to really be careful about that. If Peter's had a few drinks and is going to fly the plane, that's when you snitch. That's you say, hey, I don't think that he should be out flying the plane or driving the car. But in terms of the gossip and all the other stuff, Yeah, you got to be able to keep that to yourself. So let's keep the snitching. And my last piece of fatherly advice, hey, Costa Rica looks like a great vacation spot. I think we should be looking into that one.
I agree. I think I want to go see some monkeys.
Well, Costa Rica looks like it might be the place to do that. So we'll put that on the short list for the family vacation if we can ever get you away from your full-time job.
Watch out for the pumas on the volcano hiking trails.
And we're going to avoid the side trip to the voodoo doctor and making us sit around in our underwear and smoke things. So we'll avoid that part. Okay.
All right. So with that, I think we've gone through all that we want to. We're going to not get a little too crazy today because we've got another episode to watch tonight. So you will be hearing from us later this week once again.
But we want you to subscribe on Apple Podcast and Spotify and other place. And
because you have to hear us talk later this week. You want to know what we have to say about hours 4 and 5 of The Bachelor this week.
I can't wait.
The most dramatic 4th and 5th hour ever.
And you need to check things out at themesh.tv to check out all the podcasts there. Check them out at themesh.tv. And I guess I'm happy that I get to talk to my daughter again later this week, even if it means me having to sit through another 2 hours of The Bachelor.
You're over halfway done watching The Bachelor this week.
We'll look at it that way.
All right. So with that, check in with us later this week to hear our thoughts on The Bachelor, my correct thoughts and my dad's. Come on. He's doing the best he can. So we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.